What's the date? It's March 27th. He's already on about the Champions League final. Oh my
Dare to
gosh.
dream, Dan. You got to be in it to win it.
And we kind of painted him as this, like, lost genius, this player who never quite worked out for.
The man, the myth, the legend that is Sheik Ndoye got sent off for squaring up to John Terry. He just doesn't look like a typical football manager, and he's in a rock band. I mean, he's actually really
Yeah.
cool.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to this week's edition of the Second City podcast. My name is Daniel Sketchley.
And I'm Callum Byrne.
Good to see you again, Cal. Bit of a shorter episode this week, a little bit later than usual. Just been a busy bees and so on. And obviously it's been the international break as well, which hasn't been ideal. But we're here. We're going to have a little preview of this weekend's games and so on. But first of all, how you been, Cal? Keeping all right?
Not too bad. Obviously, birthday yesterday, so another year older, another year wiser.
I feel very bad because I forgot to. I did wish you happy birthday yesterday. I forgot to ask you today before we came on. How was your birthday? How was your birthday, though? Was it all good?
Yeah, not too bad. I mean, everyone at work forgot it was my birthday, but it's okay.
We didn't forget. We were on the WhatsApp first thing always. Yeah. 28 and counting.
I know.
Almost
that
as long
big
as Villa's
3-0 is
trophy
closing in, isn't it?
Yeah, almost as big as Villa's trophy drop. This run.
Hey, but we always say footballers hit their peak at like 27, 28. So
they do, yeah. Maybe podcasters do as well.
Physical fitness, clearly.
Gosh, yeah, sure. I'll take your word for it. No, awesome. Glad to hear you're doing all good. What we're gonna do this week then, Carl? We'll do what we're wearing as usual, and then we'll do like just a little preview. Obviously, you got a big game this weekend on Sunday, and Blues have a big-ish game, I guess, on Saturday. They're all big in the running, I suppose.
Yeah, so we'll do what we're wearing. We'll talk about the games. Obviously, we've got FA. I'm coming down with something again, Dan. I'm not feeling 100%. Yes. It's FA Cup fever.
Oh, hello. You don't get that for very long every year, do you? It comes and goes.
I mean, I haven't had FA Cup fever like this for 10 years. So
yeah, blimey, gosh. Cool. Shall we start then with what we're wearing?
Yes. Do you want to guess mine first? Because
yeah, sure.
I'm not wearing a shirt and you are.
Yeah, true. Well, you are wearing something for those listening. Don't worry, Callum is not naked on the podcast, thankfully. You're wearing. Well, you're not wearing a kit. You're wearing a tracksuit. Not head to toe in tracksuit, I don't think. Just the shirt.
No, just the top. But I'll turn around as well because there is something on the back of the jacket as well.
Oh, okay, what's this? It's Under Armour, and there's like a lion pattern and a star at the bottom of the jacket. Like kind of like the badge, but in like sort of embossed on the bottom of the jacket.
Yeah, it is.
It's the badge. It's not your current badge. It's not the last badge you had with the circle. It's like what I would consider like it wasn't the prepared badge either. It's the one after. It doesn't say prepared, does it? No, it's the one after that. Kind of Martin O'Neill era introduced and was your badge for about 10, 15 years. It's all claret with blue sleeves. I'm gonna say Under Armour. When were they there?
That's going to be your big giveaway to closing this down is the make.
I'm going to say it's Paul Lambert era, I think. I'm going to guess about 12 years ago. I'm going to say that's 12, 13. Nah. Well, it wouldn't fit you anymore, so you would have to have bought it new, but you might have done. I'm going to say 12, 13 training jacket.
You're a bit out. Well, yeah, so this is from our second year in the championship. So this is actually 17-18.
Wow.
We only had Under Armour for 2 years, which was our first and second years in the championship. And those were the first 2 years we actually had this badge without the prepared on it. The prepared badge ran from would have been around 2006, 2007 kind of time, all the way up until the year we got relegated at the end of 2016. So this was the home stadium anthem jacket. I don't know if that makes sense. So basically, it's the walkout jacket before the game. When they walk out with the mascots and stand I mean, I know in the Premier League and the Champions League, there's an anthem that plays. I don't know if there is in the EFL.
No, not that I can think of. No. We just do.
I should know because I was at an EFL game the other week, and I don't think there was. So
no, there isn't there.
But yeah, it's a really nice jacket. Haven't really got a lot of wear out of it, but I did wear this. This has a special memory because I definitely remember wearing this to the League Cup semi-final win against Leicester 5 years ago.
Gosh, yeah.
And I remember I raced up. I think I took a half day from work to go up to the game. Bunked over at mum and dad's, and then raced down the next morning, pretty much still in. All I had was I had to go straight to work, and all I had was what I'd worn to the game
Yeah.
was my Villa gear, and so I was just walking around the office all day, smug as a bug,
Nice.
because we'd won that. In terms of the season, this is from, obviously we lost the playoff final, so a mixed year.
Yeah.
But some of the highlights include a cracking 2-0 victory over yourselves at Villa Park, where Albert Adoma and Conor Hourihane scored
Yes.
an unbelievable goal, and the man, the myth, the man, the myth, the legend that is Sheik Ndoye got sent off for squaring up to John Terry.
He did. About the only good thing he did at Blues, sadly. Chicken die. Yeah,
I,
I remember that game very well,
It'd be
sadly.
fun to go through the lineups for that game because I remember some of the Blues players that played that day, and it even though it wasn't that long ago, it's enough to make you go,
Yeah,
"What?"
no, I think that era in general, like, I mean, it was like 7 years ago. We would have been our last year at uni, which,
Yeah,
it's kind of, it's weird. I like time, I don't know, just, it doesn't feel like that long ago, but yeah, like Stockdale probably would have played and Cole
Stockdale played.
Jenkinson.
Jenkinson was the other one.
Trying to think it would have been
Sam Gallagher
Morrison.
played up front. I think. Did
He
he hit the
did. He hit the
post?
post. Yeah, he did at
Yeah,
0-0. Yeah, yeah. I remember that game I forced because I was at uni at the time, and it was obviously I couldn't get a ticket anyway, and then I couldn't really. I think I just was really busy, and I couldn't really justify coming back to Birmingham even just to watch it at home or anything. So like my housemates weren't really into football that much, but I like forced them to watch it with me, and then I was just in a really bad mood for the rest of the day. It just wasn't a very good idea. I don't really know why I forced them to. But yeah, yeah, I remember that. Jeremy Boga might have played as well, actually. Was Hotter.
essentially.
Hotter would have been with us as well. But
Potter
anyway,
was with you, but I don't think he
I
played.
don't think he played either. No. Yeah.
If you wanna find out the answer to that question, check out our episode on Hotter that we did maybe 18 months ago, because we definitely
Yeah,
talk about his record in second city derbies and whether
we
he played
do.
in that game or not.
Although we talked about Hotter and we kind of painted him as this like lost genius, this player it never quite worked out for. But what we didn't know, and it came out quite soon after, was that Hotter is now like a billionaire. He's like one of the richest
He's a proper
people.
entrepreneur in Dubai or something, in
Yeah, it's something to do
fertilizers
with
or
something to do with agriculture or something. So we painted him as this like missing genius. This guy just lost out, but in reality, I think he's very happy wherever he is.
yeah.
I don't think he loses too much sleep about his record at Blues and Villa these days. Cool. What do you think I'm wearing? I'll just move my mic out of the way so you can see a
I
bit
mean,
easier.
this is a slam dunk for an easy shirt,
Yes,
and so it's
very easy
a
one.
X-Tep Carling Cup final, uh 27th of the 2nd, 2011, Wembley
Yes.
embroidered on the front with the Carling Cup patches, which is rare because you don't actually see many shirts with the old League Cup,
Yeah.
with League Cup patches in general, let alone the Carling Cup ones, which I remember are these like massive. They're
Yeah, they're
absolutely
huge.
huge.
They're wicked, yeah.
Um,
It was so much
I,
better when it was the Carling Cup. Bring it back. The
Yeah, I
Carling
hate this
Cup.
Carabao Cup nonsense.
Yeah.
Even it makes me yearn for the days of Capital One Cup.
I know, yeah.
Um,
Or what else? Are there another one in between? But even now, it's like young people now call it the EFL Cup if they're not calling it young people, kids these days,
yeah.
as if they're not calling it
Oh, that
like.
was it. There
But
was
to me,
one
it's
year
always the League
between
Cup,
Capital One and Carabao where it was just called the EFL Cup and it
EFL.
had
Yeah,
no
yeah.
sponsor. It's when
But even
United and
that,
Southampton played in the final.
that's right. Even that sounds weird to me. It's the League Cup
It's the
or the
League
Carling
Cup.
Cup. But anyway, yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, pretty easy one.
Yeah,
Uh,
this is it's 10-11. It even says it on the shirt.
It literally says it. Yeah, and by pure coincidence, although I say coincidence, I use this mug a lot. I've even got my CFAX Blues Carling Cup final mug here as well, which our mate Ethan got me for Christmas one year for Secret Santa. Yeah, obviously this is the Carling Cup winning shirt from 2011. As you say, I've worn this one before, but I wore it without like all
But
the.
I was going to
It was a
say
different shirt.
it wasn't in League Cup final spec.
No, it wasn't. Shout out to Luke for giving me this one. So he's got this. This is it's like the limited edition, like actual match day Carling Cup
I assume
final
this one
one.
was sold after the final,
It
or
must have been, yeah, because
yeah.
it definitely would have been because it came in, it comes in like a box and it's got all like the artwork and stuff. It's really cool, really nice. Um, so yeah, obviously, so yeah, I wore this one before without all the spec on, but this one is a first for that reason. Um, why get it on now? Obviously, we're going to Wembley again very soon in just 2.5 weeks. I think it is 2.5 weeks. Our first trip since 2011. I was 13 at the time, just a crazy day, and I never got this shirt at the time. Actually, I got the away one as a kid, which I wore on this podcast like probably
I want to
18
say
months ago.
episode 2.
It probably was. It was a long time. I remember just about fitting it still. Like really had to squeeze it on. Um, but yeah, obviously we won Obafemi Martins. Check my mug. Zigic 28, Martins 89 with the minutes. Yeah, iconic day. The greatest day in the history of Birmingham City. Obviously it was counteracted 3 months later when we got relegated. A really weird season because we never should have got relegated. And I've going over this is all stuff Blues fans will know, but that's a really good team. Like for I know it was McLeish ball and it wasn't
Big
pretty, but it
Eck.
was Big Eck. But it was like Ben Foster in goal. Scott Dunn was injured, but you had like Roger Johnson, Martin Urinek, Stephen Carr captaining,
Craig Gardner.
Craig Gardner, Barry Ferguson breaking his rib and still playing and literally outplaying Jack Wilshere in centre mid in the final. Genuinely, he was all over him. Bowyer, Zigic, Larson, Fahy, all of them. Jerome, I think so. Jerome, Zigic, Martins. A great team. Never should have gone down, and we just capitulated after the final and going down on 39 points. I think we had 38 points with 6 games left, and we went down on 39, despite having quite an easy run in. So yeah, and it's mad the trajectory that the club's been on ever since. Really, it was such a fundamental season, one of the most definitive, sign point. What's the word? Signpost seasons that
Sliding doors.
sliding doors. Yeah, it's a if you could only pick like 5 or 10 seasons from Birmingham City's history that were like definitive, moments in time, that was 10-11 was one of them. But yes, as I say, going back to Wembley in a couple of weeks, I thought this one would be a great one to get on now and just hold off until now because the club actually announced this week at the EFL Trophy final in a couple of weeks we're going to be wearing our third kit, which is a little odd, but they released that we're going to be they've released the version with like the date on it in the middle of the kit like here and the patches and so on, and they're going to be selling some editions of that as well. So might have to look into that because I don't have any
Gonna
kits
say
from this season
that's
yet.
one to pick up for the you got to think for the long haul here, Dan.
Exactly, yeah, exactly. So that'll be interesting. And then I could, if we win it, not to get ahead of ourselves, but I could see because our third kit is kind of unique. I could see that in
It's
like
kind
another
of
20
third kit
years
this year is
being
kind of
like
cool.
a
It's like black with like a red lightning or something
yeah,
through
yeah,
it, isn't
yeah.
it?
It's cool, and I can see it being one that they maybe recreate in a few years if we are successful in it. But yeah, 2010-11 home shirt, iconic season. So yeah,
And that was what we're wearing for this week.
it was. Yes. Shall we? Shall we? Obviously, it's been the international break. I don't know if you watched any of it, Cal. Wasn't the most exciting international break.
I didn't, but I know that the Villa boys all played for England and they did all right.
Yeah.
And I don't think anyone's got injured. That's the main
No.
thing. I hate our players playing international. Everyone's like, why isn't this player in the England squad? Why isn't that player in the England
Oh
squad? And
no.
I'm there like, please don't pick them.
Yeah,
Please
I
don't pick
don't
them.
even. I don't know the last time we would have had a player in the England squad. Maybe I think Jack Butland in 2012. I'm gonna guess. But
Probably, yeah.
that's a long way ago now, obviously. Yeah, not really much to report. Ireland obviously won home and away against Bulgaria 2-1 on each leg, so 4-2 on aggregate. And yeah, England wasn't much to report really. But back to club football this week, obviously, and back to normal matters as we hit the running. That was the last international break of the season, so um, proper into the home straight now until the start of May for the end of the season. So, should we just have a little preview for this weekend's games, Cal? Obviously, we already covered the last round of fixtures in the last podcast. Where do you want to start then? Blues are playing. Should we go chronologically?
We might as well go chronologically, yeah. Because so
Yeah, sweet.
you've got Shrewsbury um who've had a bit of a big week, and it's funny, Dan. If I had a pound for every time we talked about Gareth Ainsworth moving jobs this season, I'd have £2, which isn't a lot,
Yeah.
but it's strange that it's happened twice.
Yeah, it's weird how Gareth Ainsworth has like a sort of cultural following. I don't know. It's quite strange for an EFL
I
manager.
think it's just because
He's just a
if you saw
character,
him on the
isn't
street, he just doesn't look like a typical football manager, and he's in a rock band. I mean, he's actually
he?
really
Yeah,
cool.
and just like I always think of when England when Ollie Watkins scored against the Netherlands at
Oh
the
yeah, yeah, he was
Euros
on
last
Soccer
year.
Saturday or whatever it
He
was.
was on like Sky Sports doing the commentary for it. I was like, who was watching that? Like, the game was on ITV. Who was watching Gareth Ainsworth commentate on the game? Everyone's
Yeah.
watching the game on was it BBC or ITV?
I think
Um,
my favorite one of those is I think isn't it Steve McLaren doing it for Sky in during the
for
Iceland
the
game in
Euro 2016.
2016,
Oh, that's
and he
so
literally
funny.
has that moment of like, yeah, Iceland haven't got it's 1-1, but Sig Thorsson's their only threat, but they haven't had anything. Oh, they've scored.
Yeah, I must have watched that so many when it happened. I thought it was the funniest thing. It was just hilarious. Perfect that it was kind of Steve McLaren as well. That was
Yeah.
kind of what made it funny. But yeah, no. Anyway, you mentioned Gareth Ainsworth. He so remarkably his first game for Shrewsbury was in November, and it was against Blues, and they were bottom of the league, I think, bottom or second bottom, and they beat us 3-2. Um, his last game for Shrewsbury was the game before they play us in the reverse fixture. So we're playing them on Saturday. He's actually just left, bizarrely, and he's gone to Gillingham towards the bottom of League Two. I'm not quite sure what what's brought that on. Maybe it's closer to home. I don't know. That's all I can think. But odd because he kind of talked up the Shrewsbury job. Maybe it's the fact that they're still bottom of the league and they are going down, almost certainly.
There'll be a lot of stuff
Since
behind the scenes.
it must be, yeah. I mean, they haven't won. I think it was something like, let me double check. I've got it up here. I know they beat us in November. They haven't won since the 8th of February, so they've played 8 games since they beat us in November. They've only won 4 games. So yeah, it's not been a happy time for Gareth Ainsworth at all. He's actually been replaced by Michael Appleton, who's coming in on a short-term contract. So Michael Appleton, he was at Charlton last year. He's also managed. He was a caretaker manager at Baggies years ago. He did start his proper managerial career at Portsmouth. That's right. He was at Blackpool, Blackburn Rovers, Oxford, Lincoln, Blackpool again. Um, he's kind of famous for looking like an absolute hard man. You would not fight
Yeah.
him at all. But yeah, I'm super confident. We were really poor against Northampton in the last game, but at the international break, I know a few of the lads have been away, um, like Willemsen and Harris and so on. Stansfield's been away with the England under 21s. Hanley's been away with a dreadful Scotland team, by the way. I don't know if you saw any of their game.
Yeah, they
Um,
got battered by Greece, didn't they?
they did. I don't know if you were watching any of it as well, because on the commentary team, so the game was on BBC Two. Lyndon Dykes was a pundit on it. I don't know if you saw that, which was kind of strange. But he was just sort of stood on the pitch on his
Which is
crutches.
mad
It was
because he
really
was
odd.
there. He's been their main number nine for years, and he's moved to
Yeah.
Blues, and now he's having to do punditry work to cover the games.
Yeah, it wasn't for. I'm not sure how much we're going to see of him this season though, because he was in a boot and on a crutch and everything. So I hope he's all right. But yeah. Anyway, Shrewsbury, the bottom of the league. They beat us at their place in November, although we did beat them 4-0 in the EFL Trophy group stage before that. I'm super confident. I think it'll be 2-3-0 and it'll be a procession. Honestly, we haven't lost a home game all season. I very much see it being a continuation of that. Um,
I can tell you how it's going to go, Dan.
oh
Going
yeah,
to go 1-0 up after about 15 minutes. She's going to
yeah,
knock it
Kieran
around
Dowell
the back.
penalty. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, probably a dodgy. Ethan Laird's going to dive. Kieran Dowell will score the penalty. You'll knock it around the back. Everyone will get a bit bored because Shrewsbury won't offer anything, but you'll just keep the ball, and then you'll probably nick a second midway through the second half and win 2-0.
yeah. Alfie
Maybe
May on
then
this is a
make a mistake
one-on-one.
in the 88th minute and gift a goal, and then it'll
Yeah.
be slightly nervy, but you go over the line.
I assume you're making this joke because that's how a lot of our home games have gone this season. I actually watched just when I was eating my breakfast the other day on YouTube. It was like a compilation of all Jay Stansfield's goals this season, and a lot of them have been at home. But it says a lot that, and I was at all of these games, but I was watching it and I genuinely was like, I'm not sure what game that was. I couldn't like recognize what game was what, because they have all just blurred. A lot of them have been so similar, and obviously because it's League One and we don't play the teams as much over the years. Like I couldn't really pinpoint the kits as well and stuff. But yeah, that kind of sums up the feeling. But no, it should be really good. I can't make it unfortunately to the game, but yeah, super confident. Yeah, not too nervous at all. Hopefully, Michael Appleton doesn't get as good a start as Gareth Ainsworth did. But yeah, that's Blues. You're playing in a big game though on Sunday night, is it, or Sunday evening?
Sunday afternoon, I think.
Is it 3 o'clock? Yeah.
Yeah, it's probably one of the. I mean, it's going to be one of many games in the second half of the year where it's going to be the biggest game of the season, effectively. So, for now, it's the biggest game of the season, but that's going to obviously be eclipsed by PSG in a couple of weeks, and then potentially a semi-final after that. But
Mm.
we've got Preston away in the FA Cup. Unfortunately, could not snag a ticket, even though it was on the criteria, but it never quite made it down to members. Probably for the best because all hell I think was going to break loose if that had happened. So. Um, Obviously very confident during obviously because we didn't play the week before the international break. We did play a friendly on our Dubai training camp, although we had a lot of players on international duty. So we had a thrilling 3-1 win away in Dubai over Al Ain FC, where
Ooh.
uh, Marco Asensio, Axel Disasi, and Kane Taylor all scored in the first half after we'd gone a goal down with shock horror, their first shot on target in the match.
Sounds familiar. Yeah.
So, um, really, I love it. It's just been the tale of the season, and we were dedicated to giving a goal away with the first shot on target, even in a mid-season friendly. I mean, unbelievable stuff. It's so Aston Villa, and at this point I kind of love it. Um, I guess in terms of team news, the main big one is that Villa youngster Kane Kesler Hayden, the right back, who's on loan at Preston. cannot play. He's been having a really good loan spell there. He was man of the match in the last round of the FA Cup against Burnley when they won 3-0. Um, so unfortunately he can't play. For them, unfortunate for us, because while I'm not going to say I'm terrified of going up against one of our youth players, you want to weaken them.
Yeah, of course.
And anyway, it's FA rules. Unlike there's Champions League where Asensio can play against PSG. Um, so yeah, I mean we've got to be confident and we've got to be expecting to get through, but also it's an FA Cup quarter final. We are away from home. I mean, they're going to be really up for it. I mean, what an opportunity for Preston to get to Wembley. I couldn't even tell you the last time they went to Wembley. When was that? It must have been in the playoffs of some description.
Yeah, it's certainly not been in a. It must have applied. I can't think of them going to an FA Cup semi or a League Cup final
Yeah,
or
it's
anything in the
it's
last
it's got to be
since the
their
new Wembley
biggest
opened.
game.
Anyway,
It's got to be one of their biggest games in a generation,
yeah.
easily.
I know they've definitely been to the new Wembley at some point because I think I read something that like the only team in the top two divisions that's not been to the new Wembley is like Blackburn or something. So like everyone's been at some point. But yeah, like you say, it might have even been a League One playoff or something. It'd be quite a while ago.
So it is going to be one. It's I mean, if I was a Preston fan, I mean, you'd be really up for it. One
Oh
because
yeah,
we're a team that's playing Champions League football, so we're one of the bigger teams in out there at the moment. And there's opportunity to get to Wembley and an FA Cup semi-final. And at the same time, we're looking at it going, oh, we should beat Preston, and then let's book the train tickets and the hotels down for Wembley. But
yeah,
I expect we will go. I mean, we're obviously going to go full strength because we've had 2.5 weeks
2 weeks
off.
off. Yeah.
Um, I know some players have been on international, and then we do play Brighton on the Tuesday, the Wednesday night. Then, so there's obviously going to be a half an eye on that. I would expect because that game is huge in terms of trying to qualify for Europe for next year. So, um, but I think we'll go pretty strong. I would expect Donyell Marlon will get some minutes because I don't think he's been seen since the Liverpool game. I want to
Right.
say. So I expect he'll get some minutes. I hope Emi Martinez plays, and the rest will all kind of slot in
Yeah.
after that.
Has
But yeah,
Martinez been? I assume Martinez has been playing with Argentina this week. So the
he has. Yeah, he had quite an
battered
interesting game
Brazil, didn't
against.
they? It was like,
Yeah, and he had a bit of a kerfuffle with Rafinha, just ruffling his feathers before the Champions
oh.
League final this year. Getting in
Oh
his head
God, here we
already.
go. Here we go. What's the date? It's March 27th. He's already on about the Champions League final. Oh my
Dare to
God.
dream, Dan. You got to be in it to win it.
True. Someday. We'll be someday.
I
Interestingly, you
do.
mentioned
I do
about.
fear if we win the Champions League, we might not see you on this podcast ever again.
Oh no, that'll be the end of You have to get a guest on every week, a guest
Yeah.
Blues fan every week, I think. You mentioned about Preston though. Another thing with them, you mentioned they'll be up for it with you, but also if they are able to get past you, um, it still might sound ridiculous because they're going to be one of the least favourites to win it. Um, but
But they could play an
it's never
Ipswich
been
or a
more
Bournemouth
yeah,
in the
it's never been
semi-final.
more doable, really. If Man City get knocked out, they're looking at that as like, who knows.
If
Um,
Manchester City get knocked out this weekend, which away at Bournemouth is a
it's a hard
real
draw. Yeah,
possibility
yeah.
because their away form, while they have improved since January, their away form is dreadful,
Mm,
and they've already lost at Dean Court once this year.
yeah,
I mean, it's an underdog story regardless because none of these teams have either ever won it or won it in a generation.
yeah. No, absolutely. Do you got a prediction? How do you think it's gonna go?
3-1. We'll go goal down.
Oh, sounds familiar.
First shot on target. It's going to go in.
I can definitely see that happening. Um, cool. Uh, that's the games for this weekend then. Just a little pointer to the other Midlands teams. Let me just check this. Warsaw are at home against Wimbledon. Obviously, we are saying they've just been slipping a little bit recently at the top of League Two. They're not on a great run of form after a great start to the season, but so we'll keep an eye on that. They're at home. Hopefully, they can get back to winning ways. It would be great to see them go up to League One next year. I don't think Wolves are playing because it's FA Cup weekend and they're a Premier League team, so I
There's
don't
no
think they're
Premier League
playing.
games this weekend.
Yeah, so they're not playing. But West Brom are playing this weekend. They've got Norwich away. Obviously, they're just trying to cement their place in the playoffs a bit more, drawing a lot of games. But it'll be interesting to see how they get on there. That follows Coventry, who are playing Friday night. They got a very hard game away at Sheffield United, who obviously gone in for automatic promotion right on Leeds' heels. But Coventry have obviously been unbelievable lately, so that'd be a very interesting. It's a good Friday night fixture. That is, should be a really good game. Obviously, a real test of Cov's abilities under Lampard this season.
Callum O'Hare and Gustavo Harmer going
Mm.
against Coventry again.
Yeah, yeah, I'm sure they'll be gunning for blood. Absolutely. Cool. Quick one then before we wrap up, I suppose. You mentioned Villa are playing Brighton on Wednesday. Blues are also. I don't know if we'll get a pod in before. We probably won't. Blues are playing Bristol Rovers away Tuesday night as well. Um, between we got Shrewsbury on Saturday, who are 24th, and Bristol Rovers on Tuesday, who are I think they're one place outside the relegation zone. Although they are a few points clear. I think they're about 6 points clear. Um, they're not on like too bad a run, although they are on to their third manager of the season, I think it is. Let me double check. Um, yeah, well, the third, if you count an interim. His name is Inigo Calderon, I believe. I say they're not on too bad a run. That's because they had back-to-back wins just a few weeks ago at the start of March, but then they did lose 5-0 away to Lincoln City. So, yeah. No,
Swings and
some super
roundabouts.
swings and roundabouts, yeah. We played them at home was it Boxing Day? No, it's just before Christmas, and they were awful. They were so poor. They were really they just completely sat off us for the whole game. So I think I touch wood, it'll be 6 points against Shrewsbury and Bristol Rovers. Anyone who can't go, that game is live on Sky as well, and not just like the Plus or the Red Button or whatever. It's properly on Sky Sports Football. So do check it out if you can't go. As we hopefully tighten our grip on promotion.
And that I think wraps us up for this week quite nicely.
Yes, yeah, bit of a shorter one, but it's lovely to be back nonetheless.
Keep it coming, and we'll be back.
Yeah.
Oh, just kick the camera. We'll be back next week. Hopefully, with Villa in the FA Cup semi-finals and with a nice win against Brighton. Although I'd probably say a draw,
Yeah.
and Blues inching closer towards that championship trophy or confirming promotion at the very least.
I should very much hope so. Cool, Cal. Have a great weekend. I have a feeling you will have a great weekend, and with your birthday weekend and all that. But cool. Let's reconvene next week then, and I'll see you then. So in the meantime, keep right on and shit on the Villa.
See you next week, down and up the Villa.